So guys, another court hearing is coming up for Tasha K, but this time around, it's her husband who have to show up in court on the 9th of August, which is just a few days away. But a couple of weeks ago, Tasha K had to go to court to disclose all her information, her financial information, her statements, bank statements, for them to be examined. So the trustee can get this restructuring on the way. And this is according to Radar Online. But a lot of people were saying that Tasha K wasn't even ready for the court questioning, all the questions that they were throwing at her. And she may have perjured herself. But I do believe that her husband was subpoenaed to show up in court August 9th to see if Tasha is hiding her money and where she's hiding her money. That's why they're going to haul him in for questioning. Because the way Tasha answered the questions, they appear to be very misleading. You know, when an attorney asks you a question, they already know the answer. So when they ask her the questions and they didn't match up to their answers, so they're now subpoenaing the husband to come in on the 9th of August, 5 days away, to answer some questions. And I hope he does not perjure himself, because I believe Tasha already perjured herself. I'm going to show you guys how she perjured herself. So now they're going to be asking him where the money is. Where did Tasha put the money? Because they know that she's hiding money. They already know that. So Cardi B is not playing with her money, because she is really pursuing this settlement that Tasha K says, well, she don't have the money. Cardi B says, okay, you don't have the money, but I can seize certain assets. And if Tasha K is not careful, Cardi B is going to come after that company, that Tasha K, that is a brand now. She's going to come after that, and she's going to seize that. So when Cardi B sees the first checks from YouTube, I think she got $9,000 from YouTube, Tasha K ran out there and she filed for bankruptcy. And then that put a hole on everything. Nobody that was listed in the bankruptcy papers can come after her. So in the meantime, Tasha K have been talking a whole lot of mess, poking fun really at the system, which is not good.
The check until the appellate court has stated what I'm sending a check for. It's called having the bread to fight. That's who I'm sending my check to.
So because Tasha K got this money, maybe she got about $2 million, I don't know. But you got to remember, Cardi B got a whole lot more. She got not only her money, but she got Offset's money. Cardi B's net worth alone is about $80 million, and Offset is about $28 million. So even if Tasha K got $2 million, it cannot measure up. I'm telling you guys, be careful when you got a couple of dollars in the bank, that it doesn't get to your head.
How much more? What do you want from me?
So here, Tasha is spoofing Tyrese.
How much more? What do you want from me? How much more do you want? Now I can't cry because I got Botox.
And so her saying she's got Botox is really poking fun.
Y'all stop. Y'all know I'm getting old as fuck, so I got Botox. I can't cry. But I'm tired of the court shit, telling lies on the appeal and everything like that. It ain't even like that. Everybody trying to drag my lawyer. My lawyers are good people. They fucking good people.
So these are the same lawyers she got into court. When she was in court, she said she was going to sue. And the judge asked her about whether it was August she was going to sue. And she walked it back because she realized in that moment, if you got money to sue your lawyer, then you got some money. So show me the money. So she walked it back and she said, well, she don't have the money to sue, but she wants to sue her. So while Tasha was in court, she listed her assets to the best of her ability. So the meeting really was not in court. It was Zoom, but it was called the meeting of creditors. And the meeting of creditors is a hearing where all debtors must attend in any bankruptcy proceeding. And it's held outside the presence of a judge. Depending on the case chapter, whether it's chapter 11, chapter 13, chapter 7, etc. Usually it occurs between 21 and 50 days after the filing of the petition. This is according to my Google search. But all those who wanted to listen in on the hearing, they could have gotten the link from the trustee's office, and you could have listened in on it because it was public information. So this first step of Tasha's bankruptcy, it was a meeting of the creditors. The trustee was there presiding, and she had to show all her assets to the trustee. Her financial statements, bank statements, her holdings, cryptocurrency, whatever. She had to show proof of those things. And guess what, guys? The IRS woman was present. The IRS was right there listening in. And the reason why the IRS had a representative there is because Tasha K listed the IRS as one of her debtors. And every company she listed that she owed money to could have had a representative there. But here's where Tasha runs a risk of this bankruptcy not even being approved, because if they find that she's hiding assets and she's lying, then they're not going to give her relief. They're going to deny the bankruptcy. So Tasha has got to be very careful. Now her husband is going to be hauled in August the 9th to answer questions, and he better be very forthright in his answers, because like I said before, if they're going to ask you a question, they already know the answer to it. So these people are playing with jail time. Tasha is putting her family in jeopardy. Now, she filed for bankruptcy, but a bankruptcy, it's not approved yet. There's a stay where creditors can't come after her. Now there's a restructuring through the trustee, and then it's going to be really determined whether or not that bankruptcy is going to go through. So a lot of people are under the impression that when you file for bankruptcy, that's it, everything stops immediately. That is just a stay for your creditors not to come after you and garnish your money. The case itself takes between 4 to 6 months to complete after you file. But because you file, that does not mean that you are going to be approved. It all depends on what's in your record, what they find, how much you got, how much you can pay. Now, Tasha filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. What she's going through now is the restructuring of her assets. How much she's got, how much she can liquidate to pay her debt to Cardi B. That have to be determined by the trustee in this restructuring. But after the restructuring is done, then for it to be legal, the judge have to sign off. In my Google search, it says to become legally effective, a Chapter 11 plan must be confirmed by the bankruptcy court. And when the bankruptcy judge signs the order approving the plan and ruling that the debtor and all creditors and interest holders are bound by the provisions of the plan, the judge signs off and the bankruptcy becomes effective. It becomes legal. So at the hearing, Cardi B's attorney was there, the IRS was there, because Tasha listed in her bankruptcy filing that she owes them money, and anybody else she listed could have been there. So now, Tasha and her family are now residing in Florida. A lot of people are saying she went down there because Florida is a common law state, and she went down there to better protect her assets by transferring companies, closing out company, transferring cars and money and all of this to better protect those assets. But here's the thing with Florida when it comes to bankruptcy, and if you're married. According to Google, one of the reasons why people choose to file for bankruptcy separately in Florida is all due to protecting their assets better. Now, we know that Tasha transferred the home in Georgia into her husband's name. They moved down to Florida and they're renting. Florida is a common law state, which means any property acquired during your marriage solely belongs to the person who paid for it. So by transferring the property in Georgia to her husband's name and giving him sole ownership of that property, then this bankruptcy proceedings that Tasha is going through, they're not going to touch that property. But so Tasha thinks. Because if the court finds that she is evading paying Cardi B by doing all these transfer of properties and closing down businesses so she won't have to pay her, then they're going to find that she's evading this payment, and they're going to shut that bankruptcy down. They're not going to approve it, because remember, the judge have not signed off on that bankruptcy as yet. So this means any property acquired during the marriage solely belongs to the person who paid for it, unless it was a gift. So by her moving to Florida, transferring the property in Georgia to her husband's name, that property is protected, because in Florida, it's a very friendly state when it comes to these type of bankruptcies, where your spouse, if your spouse owns the property, that's a separate entity. And Tasha and her husband pretty much are looked at as separate, although they're married. So when the bankruptcy filing is Tasha files, it doesn't affect her husband, because it's not in Tasha's name, it's in her husband's name. And in Florida, you can be married and file separate in a Chapter 11, and it doesn't affect your spouse. But what made everybody took notice of what she was doing was when she started to transfer funds and assets during the court hearing and after the verdict came in. So Tasha was not smart in doing so. She should have made all these transfers before she even filed for bankruptcy. But she filed for bankruptcy, and she knew she was going to lose the case. And then she started to transfer properties and money. And I believe she had a car that she sold to a cousin or gifted it to a cousin. But she started to transfer property, which put everybody on notice. The judge, the Cardi B's attorney, that this woman is hiding funds. I say the judge because I'm sure Cardi B's attorneys informed the judge that Tasha K is hiding funds. She also shut down KB Studio and opened up a different LLC. Well, if the new LLC, the new business, is operating the same as KB Studio, she didn't really get rid of KB Studio. She just gave it a new name, and it's operating the same. So the judge is going to be looking at all those things, and also the trustee. So Tasha was asked by the trustee how much she owes the IRS, and she said she believed about 120 in that neighborhood. And then the IRS woman said, no, you own 92,000 and you have not filed all your filings. All your IRS filings have not been filed. And Tasha acted like if she was a deer in headlights, that she wasn't aware that all her taxes were not filed. So in a case like Tasha K, where she's suspected of hiding funds, I'm really surprised that Cardi B's attorney did not request or petition an order of examination as yet. Now, an order of examination is a hearing in which a judgment debtor must answer questions under oath about his or her assets, income, bank accounts, and other financial information. And the reason why that's done is because if they find that you perjure yourself, you can go to jail. So the first time IRS appeared was when the trial was going on. And I'm wondering how come they got alerted. Who alerted them? Was it Cardi B lawyers or the court? That's what I'm wondering. Because they appeared at a Zoom hearing. The IRS lady was at a Zoom hearing. So when the trustee asked Tasha K how much she owed the IRS, and she said about 120,000, the IRS woman said, no, you owe 92,000. So the IRS lady said, well, when do you intend to pay for your past back taxes? Because we know you owe the IRS. I'm paraphrasing, and Tasha said tomorrow. And I'm wondering if she did file. Any one of you guys, if you want a transcript, contact the trustee, and they will send you a copy or direct you where you can go and get the footage, because it's public record. Again, this was a Zoom hearing being held out there in DeKalb County, Georgia. But if any one of you are now coming onto the page, kindly hit that thumbs up bell, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so as yet. So Tasha promised that she was going to do her taxes. So I'm wondering if she did do the taxes and send it off to the IRS. And just think, had she apologized to Cardi B and taken down those videos, none of this would have happened. She opened up a whole Pandora's box. So remember, guys, I said when they ask you a question, they already know the answer. So I believe a lot of the questions that were asked of Tasha K in that hearing of creditors, they already know the answer to. They just wanted to put it on the record. Just so when they double back and they ask the husband the same questions, if he's going to say the same thing. Just to put it on the record so when they come after them later on for perjury, they've got their proof. So the trustee was asking Tasha a lot of questions. And then it was Cardi B's attorney's turn. But guys, I don't know what's wrong with Tasha K. Remember when the trial was going on and she was questioned and she said, well, 95 of what she posted, I believe she said 95 was the truth and the other part was a lie when it came to Cardi B. She admitted that she lied, but not everything was a lie. But if they catch you in one lie, then they believe everything else was a lie. Same thing here. She admitted in court in this meeting of creditors that she transferred the house after the judgment. She admitted it. She transferred the house in her husband's name. KB Studio, she dissolved that company and it's now Yellen. She opened up a new company called Yellen Inc. But if you're going to open up a new company and the company is doing the same thing as the last company, that only signals to the court that it was just a transfer of names if it's doing the same thing. I don't know how many cars she had, but she said she gave one to her niece and she sold a few. So I don't know how many cars Tasha K had owned. And we already know during the trial, she went to the bank and she pulled money out because she herself was showing herself coming in and out of that bank, pulling. And then she said, oh, I only have $1,083 and I'm going to auction this money. This is all I got in the bank. And that was back in December. So Tasha is playing a very dangerous game because if you're going to do all this, and the judge specifically told her not to transfer any money, no company, nothing. And she went and she did exactly what the judge said she should not do. This is why Cardi B got out there and she said, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. So she was asked if she have an app. And she said, nope, I don't have an app. And she does have an app. So that was a lie. But I guess technically she was telling the truth because she transferred the app into her husband's name also. So she did a lot of transferring. Now, we all know she does her show under this banner. This is the new banner right here, Tasha K Live. Well, this banner, the husband is supposed to own. This new Tasha K Live banner comes under now the husband's ownership because she transferred it to the husband. So this is signaling to the court that Tasha K is hiding assets. So she shut down KB Studio. She dissolved that company and she opened up Yellen Entertainment, which is doing the same thing as KB Studio. We also know she still have the Unwind with Tasha K. So it looks like if Tasha got several companies going on. And all of these companies, or any of these companies, the trustee can force her to liquidate in order to pay Cardi B her $4 million. So currently, Tasha K is supposed to be living in Miami, Florida. And when she was asked in the hearing how much is her rent, she said about $2,500. Cardi B's attorney said, I happen to know that particular building, the rent starts at $5,000. And she said, oh, well, $2,500 is my portion. My husband also have his portion, but that's not what they asked her. They asked her how much is the rent. They didn't ask her a breakdown. So here she was also being evasive. So as part of the assets, listed assets on the bankruptcy papers, she put down the Louis Vuitton bag because they tend to appreciate in time. So when she was questioned about these bags, she said she don't know where they are. How do you not know where your own bags are? Don't you keep them somewhere in your closet? This is how evasive Tasha K was. But it's going to catch up with her, all this evasiveness. She's going to be looking at jail time if she's not careful. Tasha, I don't think you want to go to jail, girl. You got kids to raise. You don't want to go to jail. So you got to stop playing these games. But she don't know where they are, but she better go find those bags because she agreed that she was going to take pictures and send them into the court. So then they asked Tasha K if she got a bank account in Africa, and she said no. She said, well, did your husband ever have a bank account in Africa? She said maybe when he was a little boy. And I'm saying to myself, girl, they already know you got a bank account in Africa. Maybe you put it in somebody else's name, but they already know the money is over there, girl. You spill the beans. Last year, when you were boasting that you got only $1,083 in the bank and you had pulled the rest out because you cleaned your account, and then we saw you in Africa with your husband's family, and everybody knew you had parked the money there. And guess what? Cardi B's attorney also know that. And so, Tasha thinks she is smarter than smarts, okay? Outsmarting everybody. But it specifically asks her if she have an account in Africa, because they already know that she got an account over there. Whether or not they can get the money is another thing, but they know the money is there. They asked her the question just to put it on the record. So now, when she answered no, she perjured herself. And then they asked her if her husband have an account. And she said when he was a little boy. So that means he don't have an account now. And the reason why they ask her that question, because she's transferring everything into her husband's name. So why not the money in this bank account over there in Mali? So I'm sure they did their trace already and found that money. Because like I said before, those lawyers do not ask you a question unless they don't know the answer to. They just want it on the record. So you perjure yourself. So because of how she answered those questions, now when her husband go before the judge, or whether it's a Zoom call or physically appearing in court, I don't know how he's going to appear on the 9th of August, but they are going to fire those questions off at him, and he better answer correct. I wouldn't be surprised if they ask him if he got a bank account, and we're going to see how he answers. So at this point, it's safe to say that Cardi B's attorney did a forensic accounting. What's a forensic accounting? Well, forensic accounting investigates whether a firm engages in financial misconduct when it comes to reporting their finances. The investigation applies a range of skills and methods to determine whether there have been financial reporting misconduct. So I'm sure they found that money over there in Africa. But whether or not they can get it is another story. However, they got Tasha K and the home that she have here. They've got certain companies that she's got here that they can go after to get that money. But the fact that she claims she don't have an account in Africa, that's going to put it on the record. If she does have an account in Africa, it's going to be on the record that she lied, and they can go after her for perjury, and that's jail time. So they might not be able to get to the money in Africa, but they got other ways of her paying a price for lying, if she's lying. So we're going to see on the 15th of August, which is just a couple of days away, if her husband is going to tell the same story. So the trustee wrapped up by asking her if everything was truthful, if she would like to change anything, and she said no. And I said, boy, it's a wrap. At least Tasha could have, left it open where that maybe later on, if she remembers anything, that she would like to add certain things if she remembers. So the trustee also asked Tasha K if she ever sat down with Cardi B to iron out a payment, and she said no, they just correspond on the internet. And I said, what kind of correspondence? You always cussing this woman out. You never reached out to sit down and say, okay, I owe you this money. Can we come to a resolution? It's always this rhetoric that Tasha K puts out where she's not going to pay this woman. So when the trustee asked her that question, I said, boy, this trustee really don't know the relationship and the history between Tasha K and Cardi B. how contentious it is and how heated it is. I don't think these two can sit down in a room together or even have a Zoom discussion without going at each other's throats. That's how bad it is between them. So the trustee don't know this. So the trustee is asking, did you ever reach out to Cardi B to iron out a payment plan? And she said, no, we just reached out over the internet. And I said, girl, you know that's not what this man is asking you. She don't have any more, because of this lawsuit and how she came out in the lawsuit and how she's made to look like a liar. But she herself said she was lying on the oath. Nobody made it up. She herself said she was lying on Cardi B when she was asked. She said 90, I think it's 90 or 95% was true and the rest was a lie. But even if you say 5% is a lie, you are calling yourself a liar. And once you admit to one lie, they're going to be looking at everything else was a lie. So she did that. She put herself in this bind where advertisers now don't trust her because she's deemed to be a liar. So she's not getting these brand advertisers anymore. So now she made it seem as though she's the victim. She is, woe to me. I'm the victim here because of this lawsuit. No, honey, you did it on your own. So I think if they find any money in Africa, that IRS is going to come after her because they're going to want their tax money. Because, you know, you got to pay taxes on your earned income. And if she earned, $800,000 and they pay taxes on it, IRS is going to come after her. So IRS is really taking a close look. They got her under a microscope. Another thing I wanted to mention is that in court, Tasha said she makes $3,000 a month and her husband is making $22,000, around those figures. So if she is the brain and the talent behind all these businesses, KB Studio and, well, that's dissolved. But the new business, Yelling Entertainment, as well as Tasha K on Wine, how come she's paying herself a lesser amount? Essentially what she did, she transferred her companies solely into her husband's name, and now she's paying herself a salary while she put it on the books where he is the owner of these companies and he's getting the bulk of the money. And it's all strategy, folks. She is saying that she gets a salary, but her husband is getting the bulk of the money and they can't touch him because in Florida, that's the way it's set up for married people filing separate, especially when it comes to a Chapter 11 lawsuit. So I'm sure Tasha K sat down with a tax accountant and was advised which state would be best for her to move to now that she is planning on this Chapter 11 and dissolving certain companies and transferring funds into her husband's name. So now you guys are getting a clear picture of why she moved down there to Florida, because Florida is very lenient when it comes to bankruptcy proceedings and married couples. So what Tasha did, she made herself an employee and she put all the companies in her husband's name. So essentially, she's an employee of the company. She don't own nothing. So when they're coming after her in this bankruptcy, they're going to come after her for what she have, not what the husband have, because that's how Florida is set up when it comes to married people and bankruptcy proceedings. But we're going to see if she outsmarted the courts or she dug a deeper hole for herself. So guys, before leaving the channel, if you have not given a like to the video, that thumbs up, please do so. And as well, if you have not subscribed, please do so at this time. I am over and out. Drop your comments, what you think about the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.